Hey everyone, this is Luke again, and this is the very first video on my new Chromebook. Yes, I actually bought a new Chromebook a while ago, and it's a better one. It's an Acer Chromebook, so hopefully the audio and the visual is much better because it should be, because it's a much newer model compared to the one that I was using, which was a Samsung, and it was like a really old Samsung. Um, But yeah, this is the first video on this sleek new machine. I hope you guys like it. But for today's video, I want to talk about an issue that's really been bugging me, especially, what I've seen on social media. And that is the certain amount of praise a certain character is getting. Now, if you don't know, fans love to praise certain characters online when it comes to like their development or their personality or even something very mundane as something like their powers or their voice. I mean, I do that. So, but eventually there's going to be a certain subset of fans that take it to the extreme. And this is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Kai. And that is why I believe a certain subset of fans are in what people call glazing him. They are glazing his character. And it's really bothering me because, let's just say it here. A lot of these fans are very nostalgia blind. They view it through their nostalgia blinded rose colored lenses, and they only take aspects of Kai's character that were there before the redesign, or as some people before the writers nerfed him, which I think is complete bullshit. Um, like, for example, I've seen so many videos. I'm not gonna specifically target anyone. I'm not going to show any videos of these people because I don't want people to go after them and harass them and stuff like that, because they're probably just innocent people. They're fans at the end of the day. A lot of them probably are way younger than me. They're probably in like their mid-teens or something like that. Probably still in high school, like upper middle school or lower high school. Probably the same age I was when I first started making YouTube videos. So try not to attack these people. But basically, I've seen a bunch of videos talking about Kai like he's the greatest character in media, or like the greatest Ninjago character that's ever been made, And when you put up a statement like that, you gotta have something to back it up, some real hard evidence to back it up. Now, yes, it is subjective. So yes, I'm okay with people saying Kai is their favorite ninja, because of course that's all subjective, but because they usually add in their opinion. But a lot of the times, a lot of people nowadays don't really do that, and I think that's also what's triggering me, is they're acting like it's like a main consensus that Kai is the greatest Ninjago character that's ever lived, and if you don't agree with me, you're a hater, basically. And I am really not a fan of that, because I'm not a fan of that because there's no such thing as objectivity. It's all subjective. And for one, they're putting this character, Kai, in a box, per se. What I mean by this is this. They're basically taking certain aspects of his character from previous years, probably from the earlier seasons, and making it seem that like that is the only way he can be expressed, the only way he can be shown, and the only way we have to know him. They're not allowing the character to essentially grow and change and evolve because it goes outside what they view as the um correct version. Well, they don't say correct, but I know that's what they mean. The correct version of it, or the version they grew up as. That's why I believe a lot of people really don't like the version from seasons 8 to now, because it's not the same as when they grew up, because season 8 was that like weird transitional period for a lot of us, we were like going into that teenage angsty shit era, and that was kind of when we left a lot of our innocence behind. Was around that time. Some people it was earlier, some people it was later. Um, and yeah, I definitely think Kai definitely took a different turn in season 8, but that wasn't necessarily a turn for the worse, as a lot of people say. To me, it was actually a breath of fresh air because I was kind of getting tired of the serious Kai, the one that always wants to lead, or the one that always wants to be reliable and stuff like that. The hot headedness, because you can only do it for so much before it gets old and it gets stale and stuff like that. That's why when people said, "Oh, he's J 2.0," I actually thought it was good because at that time I was getting really tired of Jay's humor because it's so predictable. It was so predictable to what he was saying, and I just simply wasn't a fan of um I wasn't a fan of Jay's humor anymore. So when Kai took that role, I genuinely laughed at some of his jokes because it was a breath of fresh air knowing that it came from somebody different. Embrace difference. It's not that hard. Not everything has to remain the same. If only the people in certain positions in government could understand that. Um But I don't want to get too off track here. But again, I'm not trying to attack these people for simply liking the past, or what I want them to do is, not forget the past, but at least give the new version of Kai a chance, because is it going to be the same as the old version? No. And that's the point. It's not supposed to be the same. I'm not the same person I was in 2011 when I first started watching it. I'm not the same person I was in 2015, or even from like 5 years ago in 2020. I'm not the same person. I grew up, I matured, hopefully, and I've changed for the most part, appearance and all, as you can see. But that doesn't mean that I have to neglect the past. And I clearly don't, because I watch a lot of the shows that I grew up with. I'm clearly not neglecting the past, but I don't want to fully discourage the future just because it's not the same as what we grew up with, because it was never meant to be the same. It's never was meant to be that way. And hopefully the people who glaze Kai can take a look at this video and open themselves up to a new lens and say to themselves that, maybe I have been hating on this new Kai, a little too much, you know, because I've heard some people saying that Dragon's Rising, he's back, the OG Kai is back. It's like, no, the OG Kai that you put in your own head was never back. You just think it is because he's shown aspects of himself that you think that you recognize with that old self. And that's why I don't like it, because they're not allowing characters to grow, to mature, to change, because they're the same as people. That's who they are supposed to represent, because they're supposed to represent people in their own universe. I want them to grow. I want them to change. I don't want them to stay the same forever, because that's boring. Same is boring. Embrace difference. Embrace a little bit of change. You know what Dragon's Rising said? Change could be scary, but it could bring up the opportunity for something even greater. As long as you give it the chance, who knows? Maybe you'll be surprised. I just want people who think Kai was better back in the old days to at least give this new Kai a chance, because you might be surprised. And do it with a different lens, and don't view it with the nostalgia blinded rose colored lenses. Don't view it from those lenses because you're just not going to go anywhere with that. You view it from a completely fresh slate. Just view this new character as if this was the first introduction you were with this character, you know. And I hope for that reason and the reasons I've stated earlier that that Kai the Kai glazing will become, less glazing and more so acceptable reasons to like the character other than he's cool, he has fire, he used to be a hothead, Sure, that's how a lot of kids were back in the day, or at least that's how they viewed themselves, but you're definitely not that kid from 2012 anymore. There's some remnants of it still inside you, but that doesn't mean you have to fully get rid of it just because your exterior has changed. That doesn't mean your inside has changed. Just because Kai doesn't showcase his hot-headedness as often as he used to doesn't mean it's not there. He just knows when to use it. He's much smarter than he was all those years ago. He's not full of himself. Most of the time, at least. There are some times where he could get ahead of himself a little too much. And I really like his dynamic with his student Wildfire. And I really hope they continue this dynamic. Same with Lloyd and Aaron and, whoever Sora is paired up with. Who knows? But I'm just saying, if you want to like a character, make sure you view the character no matter which version of it is from. You can't just solely pick one version and pretend that other versions of the character just don't exist because you view it as bad or you just don't accept the change. It's going to happen regardless. The change is going to happen regardless of what you do. So you might as well embrace it. I don't know. It's just a thought I had. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Kai glazing online has gone a little overboard, or do you think that I'm just making a nothing burger issue? Some people are probably going to say that. Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking on the red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to receive every video that I will upload. And I'll see you folks in the next video. Bye-bye! I hope this video does well on this new Chromebook, this new software, and hopefully it sounds really well. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that will be.